Lovely viewers, today's story is one that will stir your emotions deeply, because it isn't just about a joyful family moment. It's about the ripple effect it created, and the heartbreaking response that came from someone who once shared a very different kind of love story with Song Hye-kyo. The video of Lee Min-ho cradling his baby and softly singing a lullaby may have melted millions of hearts, but for Song Joong-ki, watching it brought emotions far more complicated. Emotions that left fans shaken and heartbroken. His reaction has quickly become the center of attention, and today we're going to dive into it together, step by step, with open hearts and interactive reflections. It all began the moment that lullaby clip spread like wildfire across social media. Fans from all corners of the world replayed it endlessly, calling it the most adorable and intimate glimpse of Lee Min-ho as a father. But as that joy-filled energy spread, so did whispers. How would Song Joong-ki feel about this? After all, he once shared a chapter of life with Song Hye-kyo that was deeply personal, deeply cherished by fans, and one that ended with heartbreak. And now, here she was in a new life with a new love, a husband, a family, and a child. The thought alone made fans brace themselves for Joong-ki's reaction. Lovely viewers, imagine being in his shoes for just a moment. You log online, and suddenly the trending clip everyone is talking about shows the woman you once loved and the life she has now built with someone else. Not just anyone, but another superstar, Lee Min-ho, who is now the father of her child. The video isn't about fame or glamour. It's about pure love, about family, about a moment you yourself once imagined having with her. Doesn't that tug painfully at your heartstrings? When Joong-ki's reaction surfaced, fans immediately noticed the heaviness in his expression. He didn't lash out. He didn't speak angrily. But sometimes silence and subtle cues speak louder than words. During a recent live stream, fans caught him pausing when someone mentioned the lullaby video in the comments. His smile, which moments earlier had been warm, faltered for just a second. His eyes seemed distant, as if he were pulled into a memory. And in that fragile moment, fans knew. He had seen it, and it had touched him deeply. The comments flooded instantly. "He looks heartbroken," one fan wrote. Another added, "This must be so hard for him. You can see it in his eyes." Others defended him, saying, "He has moved on, but he's still human. Seeing your past love find happiness with someone else can still sting." And lovely viewers, isn't that the truth? Haven't we all experienced moments where even if we've moved on, seeing someone we once loved happy in a new life stirs emotions we didn't expect? Fans described Joong-ki's reaction as bittersweet. On one hand, there was no anger, only a quiet acceptance, maybe even a silent blessing. On the other hand, there was unmistakable sadness, the kind that only comes from knowing what could have been but never was. One fan compared it to watching a closed chapter come alive again, but in someone else's story. Doesn't that perfectly describe it? Let's make this interactive, dear viewers. Imagine yourself in his place. You once shared love, laughter, and dreams with someone, but life led you in different directions. Then one day, you see them not only happy but building the very family you once talked about together, with someone else. How would you feel? Would you smile with genuine happiness for them? Or would there be a quiet ache in your heart, a reminder of what was lost? It's hard, isn't it? Joong-ki has always been admired for his grace and dignity in handling his private life, especially after his divorce. He rarely addresses it directly, but when he does, his words are filled with maturity. And in this moment, his reaction to the baby video reminded fans once again of his humanity. He isn't just the star of Descendants of the Sun. He is a man who once loved deeply, lost, and is now learning to live with that history while watching life move forward without him. Lovely viewers, let's pause and consider the fans' divided emotions. Some felt heartbroken for Joong, empathizing with the quiet sadness he seemed to carry. Others felt protective of Kyo, reminding everyone that she deserves her happiness and that Min-ho has given her a love that feels genuine and healing. But most fans agreed on one thing. This moment showed just how intertwined their stories remain in the hearts of millions. Even though their paths have diverged, people still see the echoes of their past when new moments like this unfold. And isn't it fascinating how a baby's lullaby, meant to soothe and comfort, could instead stir such complex emotions in someone else? For the baby it was pure love. For Min-ho it was fatherhood. For Kyo it was fulfillment. And for Joong, it was bittersweet heartbreak. The same video, one moment, but four completely different perspectives. That's life, isn't it? The same story can touch everyone in different ways. Fans have since created edits pairing Joong-ki's expression with the lullaby video, and while some see it as a tribute, others feel it crosses into painful territory. Yet, it shows how much the world is invested in their intertwined journeys. The reactions are proof that even years after their separation, Joong and Kyo remain connected in the public's heart. Lovely viewers, let me ask you, do you think Joong-ki's sadness was more about losing Kyo, or about realizing that a dream he once had, of fatherhood, of family with her, was now being lived by someone else? That question alone has sparked endless debates among fans. Some say he has already moved forward with his own life and new love, but others believe certain memories never fully fade, no matter what comes after. What breaks fans' hearts the most is the quiet dignity in his reaction. He didn't criticize, he didn't deflect. He simply showed a flash of vulnerability. And isn't that the most human thing of all? To feel, to be reminded of love lost, to ache silently, and to still move forward with grace. This is why fans call it a heartbreak moment. Because it wasn't dramatic, it wasn't loud. It was quiet, subtle, and all the more powerful because of that. And now, every time people rewatch the baby lullaby video, they can't help but also think of Joong-ki's reaction. It has become part of the story, a shadow that lingers behind the light of Min-ho and Kyo's new chapter. This is exactly why Song Joong-ki's reaction has been on everyone's lips, because it reminds us that love stories don't exist in isolation. They overlap, they leave echoes, and sometimes those echoes are loud enough to be felt even years later. Think about it. The lullaby video was meant to be a soft, tender moment of comfort between Lee Min-ho and his baby, yet it rippled outward and reached Joong-ki's heart like a wave. Fans describe his reaction as one of those blink and you miss it moments that still hit harder than words. A glance downward, a slight shift in his expression, a silence that lingered just a little too long. All of it combined to tell a story of emotions too complex to put into speech. Isn't it fascinating, dear viewers, how sometimes the most powerful feelings reveal themselves not in grand gestures but in tiny cracks of silence? Fans have been quick to analyze what that silence meant. Some believe it was pure heartbreak, the sting of seeing a life he once imagined slip away forever. Others believe it was bittersweet acceptance, a moment where he silently acknowledged Kyo's happiness even if it wasn't with him. And then there are those who think his expression carried more than just sadness. It carried love, respect, and perhaps even regret. Lovely viewers, let me ask you, which one do you believe it was? Do you see heartbreak or do you see grace? But what makes this moment even heavier is the way fans themselves reacted. Many rushed to comfort Joong, filling his social media pages with supportive messages. Comments like, "We love you no matter what," and "Stay strong, Joong Appa, you deserve happiness too," flooded in by the thousands. Others reminded him of the love he has found in his own life, urging him to focus on his new chapter instead of old wounds. And yet, even within that support, there was a shared ache, a collective heartbreak for the man who once held the title of Kyo's husband. Lovely viewers, let's take a moment to imagine something together. Suppose Joong was alone when he first saw the lullaby video. Maybe he stumbled across it by accident while scrolling through social media, or maybe a friend sent it to him. He presses play, and for a few seconds, he watches Min-ho holding the baby, humming that lullaby, looking down with eyes full of love. Can you imagine what thoughts must have raced through his mind? Perhaps a memory of when he once dreamed of holding a baby with Haikyo. Perhaps the realization that what once was his dream is now her reality, with another man. Perhaps even a smile through the pain, acknowledging that she finally found the happiness she long deserved. Isn't that a scenario that pulls at your heartstrings? And yet, despite the heartbreak, one thing stood out: Joong-ki's dignity. He didn't post bitter words, he didn't show jealousy, he didn't criticize. Instead, he carried his feelings quietly, in the same respectful way he has handled every challenge since his divorce. That is what fans admire most about him. He may have been heartbroken, yes, but he didn't let it turn into bitterness. Instead, he let it be a moment, a painful human moment, that spoke volumes without needing any explanation. What's striking, too, is how this reaction adds another layer to the story of the baby video itself. Before, it was a symbol of Min-ho and Haikyo's new life together. Now, with Joong-ki's reaction, it has become something bigger. A crossroad of past and present, of old love and new love, of joy and heartbreak woven into a single moment. Isn't it incredible, lovely viewers, how one video can hold so much meaning for so many people? And this is where fans are torn. Some feel protective of Joong-ki, saying the video should never have reached him because it's like reopening old wounds. Others feel it's inevitable because in today's digital age, nothing stays private and everyone is connected. But no matter which side you're on, you can't deny that the emotional impact is real, raw, and unforgettable. Lovely viewers, don't you think this reminds us of our own lives too? How many times have you seen an ex move on, start a family, or live a life you once pictured together? Didn't it sting? Even if you've moved on yourself, didn't it bring back memories you thought were gone? That's why Joong-ki's reaction resonates so much. It mirrors our own human experiences. It's not about being a celebrity. It's about being a person who once loved and lost. So yes, the lullaby video was adorable. Yes, it melted hearts worldwide. But for Song Joong-ki, it was a heartbreak moment. One that fans will remember not just for what it showed of Min-ho and the baby, but for the quiet, powerful emotions it stirred in the man who once stood beside Song Haikyo. The layers don't end there. Once Joong-ki's reaction became a subject of public discussion, the media immediately seized upon it. Headlines popped up everywhere. Song Joong-ki's silent heartbreak, Joong-ki's expression tells 1,000 stories, and past meets present in emotional baby video. The world suddenly wasn't just watching Min-ho's lullaby anymore. It was also watching the quiet storm brewing in Joong-ki's heart. But here's the question we must ask ourselves, lovely viewers. Is it fair? Should the media dissect a man's private emotions based on a fleeting expression, or is it part of the reality of fame? Some argue that Joong-ki deserves privacy, that he shouldn't have every emotion magnified and broadcasted. Others insist that as a public figure whose past love story was once adored by millions, it's inevitable that people would analyze his response. What do you think? Should fans and media let him grieve quietly, or is it impossible to stop the world from reacting to his reaction? Interestingly, while fans were divided, what many noticed was Min-ho and Haikyo's silence on the matter. Neither of them addressed Joong-ki's reaction, neither directly nor indirectly. Some interpreted this as respect, a choice to avoid making things worse by drawing attention to it. Others wondered if perhaps they privately felt guilty, knowing that their joy might be reopening someone else's wounds. Lovely viewers, do you think they should have said something, or was silence the kindest response? Another layer to this unfolding story is how Joong-ki himself chose to move forward after the reaction went viral. Instead of fueling speculation, he appeared at his next public event with the same calm, warm demeanor fans have always known him for. He smiled, he engaged, he carried himself with grace. And yet, sharp-eyed fans still noticed traces of melancholy, like when he paused just a second too long before answering a question about happiness, or when his smile flickered in a way that felt almost forced. Isn't it fascinating, dear viewers, how even in strength tiny glimpses of pain can peek through? At the same time, many supporters pointed out something crucial. Joong is not a man stuck in the past. He has his own path, his own joys, his own life that continues to grow and flourish. They reminded everyone that while his reaction might have been heartbreak in that moment, it doesn't erase the fact that he, too, has found light in other corners of his life. Isn't that a comforting reminder, lovely viewers, that even in heartbreak, there can still be healing? But perhaps the most touching part of this whole saga is how it brought fans of all three stars, Min-ho, Hae-kyo, and Joong, into one emotional conversation. Instead of dividing fandoms, it united them in empathy. Many who once only rooted for one couple found themselves pausing to consider the feelings of everyone involved. Isn't that rare in the world of celebrity culture, where fans are often at odds? Lovely viewers, imagine for a moment if Min-ho himself saw Joong reaction. What do you think he would have felt? Perhaps pride in his little family, but also compassion for the man who once stood where he stands now. Perhaps even a quiet wish that Joong, too, finds a happiness so full that no lullaby video could ever stir old wounds again. And what about Hae-kyo? Can you picture her heart trembling a little if she knew the video had reached him? Maybe she would smile through tears, grateful for her new chapter but tender toward the one who once walked beside her. This moment, then, is not just about one man's heartbreak. It's about the delicate balance of past and present, the echoes of love that linger even when life has moved on, and the universal truth that love, loss, and healing are experiences we all share. Isn't it beautiful in a bittersweet way, that even in sadness, Joong reaction has given the world something to feel, something to reflect upon? And so, lovely viewers, the story continues. Not just in the lullaby, not just in Joong reaction, but in the way it has made us all stop and think about the connections between joy and pain, endings and beginnings, heartbreak and hope.